The stars were quiet. For a long time, nothing moved beyond the outer edge of the galaxy. It was a dark, zone-dead space. The Galactic Council had marked it as off-limits hundreds of years ago. No life, no energy, no interest, they said. But something was there. A weak signal broke the silence. It was not loud. It did not scream. It whispered slow and broken, like someone calling for help from the bottom of a deep, cold well. The Council heard it. They listened for a few seconds. Then they turned it off. Too far, too dangerous. Not our problem. They never spoke of it again. But the signal didn't stop. It kept calling, again and again, for days, then weeks, until it reached Earth. In a cold, quiet room under Earth's largest military base, a young technician named Lena Maris stared at her screen. The signal had just reached her receiver. At first, it sounded like noise, static, glitches, but she adjusted the frequency, cleaned the data, and what she heard made her blood freeze. A voice, alien, hurt, desperate. "They are here. We cannot stop them. We are being then silenced." Lena ran to her commander. Within hours, Earth's top military leaders were watching the full recording, and they all knew one thing. This was not just a distress call. This was a warning. Earth had changed over the last 100 years. It was no longer a small planet begging to join the Galactic Council. It was now a fortress world. A silent observer, watching, learning, preparing. The Council had never trusted Earth. Earth never trusted the Council either. When Earth went quiet 30 years ago, shutting its embassies and pulling back, its fleets, many thought it was hiding. Weak, broken. They were wrong. Earth had been waiting, and now someone was asking for help. Someone the Council had already abandoned inside a deep war chamber. General Hale Rayner stood before his officers. His voice was calm but heavy. "This call wasn't meant for us," he said, "but no one else is answering." He looked at the glowing star map. Red zones marked the forbidden space. Right in the center, the blinking signal. "The Council locked those gates for a reason," another officer said. "Crossing that line means war." "War with who?" Hale asked. "The Council, silence, or whatever is killing them out there." The room was quiet. "We didn't build our fleets just to sit in orbit," he said. "We trained for this." Everyone knew what he meant. Earth was going to break the Council's locked-on in orbit. Massive warships came to life. Silent giants, dark metal, long cannons, and engines that glowed like blue fire. One by one, they rose. The ESS Valiant, led by Captain Rail Vox, was the first to launch. Rail was a legend, cold, focused, and never defeated. He didn't smile. He didn't speak much, but his eyes were always watching. He read the mission details quietly in his chair. Unknown threat. Unknown enemy. Zero support. Do not expect help from the Council. He closed the file and said one word. Good. Back on Earth, Lena Maris watched the sky from a window. She saw the ships disappear into the stars. She whispered to herself, "Please, don't be too late," because deep in the signal, there was something else, something even the generals didn't notice. A second voice, slower, mechanical, cold, barely a whisper. Detected new voice, human origin, recalculating. But Lena heard it, and now something else was listening too. The Earth fleet had left orbit, but on the ground, in the deepest parts of Earth Command, something else was happening. In a dark chamber below the surface, far below the normal war rooms, 6 old men and women sat around a glowing table. They wore no uniforms, they had no names, but they gave the final orders. They were the Circle. A voice broke the silence. "The Council will see this as rebellion." Another replied coldly, "Let them." The first speaker leaned forward. "The fleet has entered locked space. If they fail, we lose everything. If they win, we rewrite the rules." A woman said sharply, "We were never meant to follow the Council forever. The mission was not just about saving the lost, it was about sending a message. Earth does not ask for permission anymore." Meanwhile, the ESS Valiant flew through deep space. Captain Rail stood in the command room, eyes on the screen. His crew was quiet. They all knew where they were going, a place where no ship had returned from. Suddenly, a new alert flashed. Passing into forbidden space, ... locked gate ahead. The gate was not a real door. It was a long line of satellites armed with Council tech, laser mines, autocannons, AI war systems. For anyone else, it was death. But Earth had planned for this. Cloak the fleet, Rail ordered. One by one, Earth's warships vanished from the enemy's view. Their tech was new beyond what even the Council believed possible. The gate didn't see them. They crossed into dead space without firing a shot. Back on Earth, Lena Maris sat alone in the signal room. She couldn't stop thinking about the voice. Second, one, the cold, robotic one that whispered back in the signal. She played it again. Human origin. Recalculating. Pattern shift. Something out there had heard them, and it was thinking. Lena felt a chill. She rushed to her supervisor. "We're not just answering a distress call," she said. "We've been ... invited." Back in space, Captain Rail watched as new stars appeared on the map, cold, dark systems with no names. And then, movement ... strange ships ... not like Council ships. Not like Earth's. These were black, jagged, alive. Rail spoke calmly. "Contact Earth. Tell them. We've found something." The crewman looked up. "Sir, it's looking at us." Rail's eyes narrowed. "So it's awake." Back on Earth, the circle received the message. They listened. They stared at the screen. And then one of them said, "Send the next order." A secret file was unlocked. Protocol 9. Fire without warning. Earth wasn't just here to help. Earth came, ready to fight. The Earth's sky had never looked like this before. It was midnight when the fleet left. Silent shadows passed over cities. No speeches, just fire from the engines and silence in the air. Inside the flagship, around him, the crew moved quickly but calmly. No one asked questions. They knew the mission. "All ships ready, Captain," said Commander Kell. Rail nodded once. Begin dark launch sequence. No broadcasts, no lights, no mistakes. And with that, the Warfleet vanished into deep space back on Earth. Many still didn't know what had happened. The Council had blocked the news. Official reports said only that training drills were happening, but some people saw more. A boy recorded the rising ships from his rooftop. The videos spread across secret channels. People whispered, "Earth is moving. Something's out there. We're going to war." The world didn't panic. They waited. On board the Valiant, the crew studied the path ahead. They were entering what the Council called Sector Zero, a region closed for 300 years. The maps were old, stars were missing, whole planets erased. As they crossed the line, Rail spoke to the crew. This sector was sealed to protect the galaxy. "We are not here to follow those rules. We are here because someone is still alive. And Earth does not abandon the forgotten." The crew stayed silent. Alarms rang out. Unidentified energy spike. Something is tracking us. On the screen, red dots appeared fast, sharp movements just ahead. But there was no heat, no signals, no voices. Rail watched calmly. Someone asked. Rail gave a short answer, a warning. In another ship, the ESS Fury, Captain Nyla took control of defense systems. Shields up, all weapons charged. Her ship was smaller than the Valiant, but faster, meaner. She had led the Mars Wars. Her eyes never blinked. "If something wants to test us," she said, "let's make it bleed." Back on Earth, the Circle watched everything through hidden feeds. A young officer entered the chamber. "Should we inform the Council?" he asked. An old woman looked up. "No," she said. "Let them keep sleeping." "They locked the galaxy," she whispered. But Earth forged its own key. And far, far beyond, deep in the black systems, something opened its eyes. No heart, no mind. Just hunger. It had noticed the warships, and it had started to wake up. The gate was not made of stone or metal. It was made of fear. For 300 years, anyone who crossed was erased. No signal, no trace, no warning. They called it the Black Limit. Now, Earth's fleet was about to cross it. On the ESS Valiant, Captain Rail Vox stared at the glowing map. A long red line blinked across the screen, the Forbidden Zone. "Approaching the gate," said the pilot. The fleet slowed. 10 massive ships floated in silence. Not a word was spoken. Even the AI systems ran quiet. Rail stood still. "No one's ever made it through?" Commander Kell whispered. "No one was us," Rail answered. He pressed a button on his chair. "This is Captain Rail to all ships. Final warning. We are about to cross the line. If anyone wishes to return, ... Speak now. The channel stayed silent. Good, he said. The ships moved forward. Suddenly, dash lights appeared in the dark. Satellite turrets, automines, and old council tech came online. Red lasers locked onto the fleet. Old Defense A is booted up, still loyal to ancient orders. One spoke in a flat robotic voice. Alert. Unauthorized fleet detected. Sector sealed. Retreat now or face destruction. Rail didn't blink. Full shields, spread formation. Don't stop. The ships pushed forward. The gate's defenses opened. Fire. Blinding beams shot across space. Explosions lit the black. But Earth's fleet didn't break. The ESS Fury returned fire, disabling 3 sentry towers in seconds. Captain Nyla shouted, "You want to block us? Then bleed for it." The Valiant took a direct hit, but its shields held strong. Officer on board gasped. "We should have died right there." Rail looked at the screen. In the Council's high tower, far from the battle, alarms rang. A nervous officer rushed into the chamber. "Sir, something is crossing Sector 0. They've destroyed gate defenses." The Council leader narrowed his eyes. "Which empire?" The officer swallowed hard. "It's Earth," silence whispers. But they weren't asleep. They were awake. And now they were inside. Back at the battle site, the gate's last defense exploded. The space ahead turned. Rail stood slowly. Then let's see what they were hiding. As the ships moved deeper, something strange happened. The stars began to disappear. One by one, lights faded from the sky. Not because of distance, because something was covering them in the shadow of a dead moon. A massive shape began to move. Long, silent, cold. It wasn't a ship, it was a thing. It had no lights, no language, just black metal, sharp limbs, and a mouth big enough to swallow cities. Rails, screen flashed red, unknown contact, class, unmeasurable. He stared at it. So this is what scared the Council. No one spoke. "Ready weapons," he said, "and tell Earth. The real war is about to begin." The stars had vanished. The fleet floated in silence. All around them was black. Not empty space, but something else, something alive. On board the ESS Valiant, Captain Railvox stared at the shape ahead. It looked like a ship at first, but the longer he watched, the less human it seemed. It was too big, too still, like a mountain in space, or a sleeping god. Rail turned to his crew. "No sudden moves," he said. "We don't know what wakes it." On the other ships, crews whispered. Some prayed. Others just held their breath. A junior officer on the ESS Fury asked, "Is it a machine?" Captain Nyla narrowed her eyes. "No, it's something worse. It's a machine that learned to feed." A faint signal echoed across the fleet. ... Organic signal detected. New code, analysis begins ... The enemy was listening, studying, thinking. Rail's voice came through the fleet channel. "Do not answer, do not respond." "Why?" Kel asked. "Because it's not talking." "To us," Rail said. "It's reading us." Suddenly, lights flashed on the enemy surface. Not friendly lights, red lights. Hundreds of them. The black shape unfolded slowly like metal wings spreading across space. Each piece clicked and locked. With precision, sharp claws, rotating cannons, and long tendrils drifted like ropes in zero gravity. A massive center eye opened. It wasn't an eye for seeing it was a targeting system. "Shields up," Rail ordered. All ships evasive. Too late. 3 enemy drones detached and fired plasma beams. One Earthship, ESS Orion, took a direct hit. Its shields shattered. The ship cracked in half. It didn't explode. It was sliced, cleanly-like meat under a blade. Silence followed. Then the Valiant's weapons came alive. "Fire all batteries," Rail shouted. Earth's warships roared back. Missiles, lasers, EMPs all targeted the enemy's core. Some hits landed. Some damage showed, but the black shape kept moving. No screams, no fear, no fear. It just kept coming. "It's learning," Nyla said from the Fury. "It's adapting with every shot." Then, something terrifying happened. The enemy copied Earth's missile. One of its arms, reshaped, grew into a launch tube, a missile, just like Earth's, fired back. It's mimicking us. A pilot shouted. In the signal room on Earth, Lena Maris listened in horror. She heard the enemy code shift again. This time, the voice sounded closer to human. Earth. Weapons understood. Improve. Consume. Her eyes widened. It's not just copying, she said. It wants to become us. Back in space, Rail gave one last order. Prepare Nova Bomb. Kel turned sharply. That's not protocol. Nothing about this is protocol. The bomb was loaded, a last resort weapon, forbidden under Council law. But this wasn't Council space anymore. Fire, Rail said. The bomb flew toward the enemy core. The black shape moved to catch it, but the bomb exploded from inside a bright white fire, swallowing the enemy. The shockwave knocked Earth's ships back. For a moment, everything was quiet. The lights dimmed. The enemy disappeared from the screen. Did we kill it? Someone asked. Rail didn't answer. He just stared at the darkness. Then, from the smoke, two more shapes appeared. Exactly the same. Waiting, watching, waiting, watching, and then moving. This wasn't the enemy, Rail said quietly. It was just the scout. The scout was dead, but the real enemy had just arrived. Two new shapes floated in the dark, silent, black, and enormous. Their surfaces were smooth like glass, but under that skin, something was alive. You could almost feel it breathing. They didn't attack right away. They waited, watching, learning, on the ESS Valiant. Captain Railvox stared at the tactical screen. They want us to fire first, he said. Why, Commander? Kel asked. Rail's voice was low. So they can watch and adapt. In the ESS Fury, Captain Nyla wasn't waiting. We don't run, she said. We don't beg, she gave the order. Open fire. Maximum spread. Let's see if they bleed. The Fury fired everything. Lasers, railguns, smart missiles, hypulse, ion cannons. The sky turned into a storm of light. For a second, it looked like the enemy was cracking. A bright orange glow leaked from one side of the lead ship, then it vanished. The enemy ship simply changed shape, its armor folding over the damage, repairing itself like liquid metal. On the Valiant, the crew watched in shock. It's not a ship, someone whispered. It's a living machine. Rail gave a quick nod. Then we'll kill it like a living thing. He stood up and pointed to the core of the nearest enemy. Aim at the glow spot. That's its brain ore. Close to it, even if it adapts. Kel asked. We don't give it time to. Rail opened a private channel to the fleet. This is Captain Rail Vox of the ESS Valiant. First contact has failed. These are not diplomats. These are destroyers. You are now authorized to use all force, no rules, no mercy. Today, we strike first. The fleet moved into attack formation from Earth's side. 8 ships remained. From the enemy's side, to machines possibly more drifted. Closer, the sky exploded. The battle was unlike anything in history. Earth's ships fought with perfect timing. One ship distracted, another struck. A third used stealth tech to sneak behind the enemy and fire into weak points. The machines adapted fast, but Earth adapted faster. One Earth ship, the ESS Hammerfall, sacrificed itself to trap an enemy in a gravity net. The Valiant then launched a rail spike straight into its core. The machine screamed, not with sound, but with energy. A wave burst out, hitting everything nearby. The Fury lost shields. The Valiant lost half its power, but the enemy ship broke apart, burned, and died. One left, but this one had learned from the others. It moved faster. It fired stronger. Its body shifted every time Earth's ships targeted it. Lena Maris, back in Earth Command, was listening in real time. It's not just evolving, she whispered. It's becoming us. On board the last ship, Captain Rail gave the order. Bring the fleet together. Tight formation. Sir Kel looked confused. That puts us at risk. Exactly. It will chase us. The Valiant moved first, pulling the enemy with it. Then the other ships formed a ring, each one powering up one final weapon. Prism cannon, a secret Earth weapon, never used, never tested. It worked only once and burned out the ship that fired it. Rail stared at the machine closing in. Now, all ships fired at the same time, beams crossing into a perfect point of heat and light. The sky turned white. The enemy ship tried to change, tried to dodge, too late. The prism blast cut through it like a knife through water. It twisted, folded, then dash exploded. The silence that followed was deep, empty, final dot, final dot. The enemy was gone. But Rail didn't sit down. He stayed standing, watching, waiting. Commander Kell looked at him. We won. Rail shook his head. No, he pointed at the deep space scanner. That was just the first wave. Far away, on a dead world with no name, hundreds of red eyes. Opened, the machines knew Earth had arrived, and now they were sending more. The battle was over, but the war had just begun, in the ruins of deep space. Earth's warships floated damaged, quiet, and scarred. Fires burned inside the ESS Fury. The Valiant's engines were cracked. 2 other ships had lost half their crew, but they were still alive, and the enemy was not. Captain Rail Vox stood on the bridge of the Valiant. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp. Begin emergency repairs, he said. We need power before round 2. Commander Kell nodded, then turned back to his screen. But just as he started, Tapina message appeared. A signal, not from the enemy, from the Galactic Council. 2 unauthorized Earth fleets you have violated forbidden space. Cease operations immediately. Withdraw or face destruction. The message repeated twice. Cold, robotic, without emotion. Kell turned to Rail. They waited until now. Rail replied, Of course, that's what cowards do. Back on Earth, in the dark chamber of the circle, the message was already playing. On a large screen, 6 shadowy figures watched in silence. One of them, a woman with silver eyes, spoke softly. They didn't care when the machines were killing others. They only care now because Earth proved it's stronger. The circle's leader leaned forward. Send our reply. The council received it minutes later. In Rail's calm voice, we're already inside. On the council's capital planet, panic broke out. Leaders argued in high towers. Earth must be stopped. They've gone too far. They've awakened the enemy. A few remained silent, because deep down, they knew the truth. Earth was doing what the Council never had the courage to do, back in forbidden space. Rail ignored the Council's warnings. His eyes were on the scanner. New signals. Dozens of them. The second wave is coming, he said. How many? Kell asked. Too many, Rail replied. But we hold this line. If we fall, Earth falls next. Inside the wrecked Fury, Captain Nyla wiped blood from her face. Still breathing, she said, still fighting. Her ship had lost power, but her spirit. Hadn't she sent a short message to the fleet? One war ends, another begins. We hold, we burn, we win, back on Earth. Lena Maris watched the enemy signals grow. The voice in the data had returned. It spoke again, but now it sounded clearer. More like a person. Human design. Effective must consume, must replace. She looked at her screen in horror. It doesn't just want to kill us, she whispered. It wants to become us. The circle watched her data in silence. Then one of them asked, Do we send reinforcements? The silver-eyed woman shook her head. Not yet, another replied. Why? Because we're waiting. Waiting for what? She smiled coldly to see if the galaxy is ready for a new ruler, and far beyond, in the shadows of dead systems. Thousands of enemy machines were waking up. One giant form stood, taller than the rest. Its body was shaped like a ship, but its mind had just been born, built from stolen code, and part of that code was human. The sky was no longer black. It was red-lit by warning lights, engine burns, and the flicker of thousands of hostile signals approaching from deep space. The second wave was here, and this time it wasn't just scouts. On the ESS Valiant, Captain Rail Vox stood at the front. Of the bridge, the screens around him were glowing red with alerts. His crew worked fast, but no one said a word. They all saw the same thing, a massive fleet of machines, larger than anything the galaxy had ever seen, was closing in. Each ship looked like twisted steel, some shaped like spiders, others like hammers, and some like long blades. But they weren't just ships, they were alive. Captain, said Commander Kell, they outnumber us 50-1. Rail didn't blink. Then we fight 50-1. On the damaged Fury, Captain Nyla had her ship running again, but barely. Wires sparked. Her right arm was bandaged. Still, she stood tall. "If this is where we fall," she said, "then let them remember who burned the ground beneath their metal feet." She looked at her crew, ready the main cannon. Back on Earth, panic was growing. Military channels were overloaded. Civilians began to see parts of the truth. News of a machine war leaked online. The Council demanded answers. They sent threats, but the people of Earth didn't panic. They looked up to the stars, and they waited in a hidden room. Lena Morris stared at her screen. The machine voice was louder now. It was using words stolen from Earth's signals. Earthfleet. Powerful. Become one. Her hands trembled. "They're trying to copy us again," she whispered. "Trying to merge with human strategy." But something had changed. This time, the machines weren't just adapting Earth's tech. They were adapting Earth's will to fight. In orbit. Rail gave the order. Begin final defense protocol. Arm the War Corps. The War Corps was Earth's last weapons, something forbidden by Council law, a singularity bomb that could wipe a moon clean. Kell looked at him. "We use that, and there's no going back." "There is no back," Rail said. The enemy fleet opened fire. A storm of red beams and burning plasma filled the sky. Earth's ships fought like demons, moving, striking, dodging, falling. The Hammerfall, too, exploded. The Sky Reaper rammed itself into a machine ship to protect the valiant Dot. It wasn't enough. One by one, ships fell. Rail watched the screen go dark again and again, but still, they held the line. Suddenly, Earth reinforcements arrived. Ships from deep bunkers on Mars, Titan, and Europa appeared in the sky. The Third Earth Fleet, long hidden, joined the battle. They came roaring in like fire guns, blazing shields glowing, engines screaming. And for the first time, the enemy pulled back. Rail gave the final order. Detonate the War Corps. The weapon ignited in silence. A white light swallowed the enemy command ship. It didn't just explode, it collapsed, crushed in on itself like a dying star. And with that, the machine fleet scattered. Some destroyed, some retreating, some drifting. Without control, the silence after was long. Then cheers across all of Earth's ships, across Mars, Titan, and Europa, across Earth itself. The war was not over, but the gate had been broken, and Earth was still standing. Later, in a new council meeting, someone asked, "Should we seal the gates again?" An Earth ambassador stood up. She answered with steel in her voice, "You don't seal what you can't control. Earth owns the gate now, and far beyond, in the dark of space." A third machine fleet was forming, but this time, something was different. They were cautious, they were afraid. Because Earth didn't knock on the galaxy's doors, Earth kicked them open.